All right, good afternoon, traders. Today, July 6, 2026. My name, Coach Kerrigan. I'm the instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thanks for being here. Started a new 5K account today. I only used 10% of my account value, and was able to, that would be $500. And with that, I was able to capture 199. So almost four goals. One goal would have been $50. Two goals would have been 100. So obviously four would have been 200. Missed it by a buck. Probably could have traded some more, but it's all about the risk management. No need to push it. My first day whenever I start a new account is kind of the critical one to get me off on the right foot. And I know I say rabbit at the beginning of the month all the time for good luck, but that first day is kind of critical. Gets me off on the right foot, and then I've got a couple $100 to play around with, because now that I've acquired a little bit of a lead in my schedule. My schedule would be to make 1% every day, and of course 1% of 50 of 5K would be $50. So make 1% every day. So getting an extra couple goals on the first day really makes a big difference going into tomorrow, because it kind of gives me a little bit room to actually take a little bit more risk, because I've got a little bit more to lose. I'd still need to stay on schedule, but I've got a little bit of a buffer there. So that's what I like to do, is build that buffer up the first day. And it just happens to be I got fortunate today, is able to read the tea leaves and everything right. And I saw things trading out, and I just stuck with the trend, really. That was what it was all about. So let me move this off to the side and take down the plaque. Okay, so this was our day today. And what I saw early this morning was, of course, this was where we closed on the 2nd of July. That would have been a Thursday. Okay, so you can see price action moves up to the VWAP and holds instead of bouncing away. And then we slowly transition over it and hold the higher ground above it. That's another bullish scenario. So bullish scenario 1 was higher lows, higher high. Bullish scenario 2, bullish observation. Okay, that was bullish observation 1. Bullish observation 2, price pulls up to VWAP and does not fade away. Okay, it just actually hugs the VWAP line as if it wants to grind away at overhead supply. There's bullish observation 2. Bullish observation 3 is price transitions over the top and begins to hold over VWAP. Okay, there's bullish observation 3. All right, unable to break these highs over here put by that wick. Now comes bullish observation 4. You've got a bullish gap up, not filled by the bears in the pre-market, and the bulls hold the higher ground up here. So now we're in this tight channel of price winding up here. So there's bullish observation 4 and 5, price holding this higher ground. What am I looking for? Well, obviously, I got bullish observation 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 right there, the hold. So now what do I want? I'd really like to find is a 5-minute uptrend coming out of this area. Now, are they going to pull back and gap fill and then rip and give me the 5-minute uptrend? Are they going to pull back and gap fill and then just fade it all the way back down? Or am I going to get a gap fill right out of the breakout of the opening range, or the pre-market range right here, which wound up being what it was? Okay, we had a pre-market range really tight right through here. I was looking for candles to close up there, and I did get a candle close, but then it got erased by a big red candle. And then I got another candle that kind of came close. And then we closed one up there, but I needed it now to break the top of that right there, the top of the body of that candle up there. That would be the green erases red. Finally triggered right here on this candle at 10:15. So I'm sitting on this, waiting till 10:15. I do see clues. All right. First clue, big tail. All right. Second clue, another big tail. Okay. Third and fourth clue, another couple of tails. All right. And I see the price is kind of just drifting up here. So with that, as soon as I see the 3 on top of the 8 for a couple candles, and price gets right on top of the body of these candles here, I'm sold on a long position to the upside. All right, so I see that, and of course you can see the picture of money commences right here. You can see the ADMA, and then you can see the VWAP line. The ADMA is this white line right there, and the VWAP line is the gold line right here, or the burnt orange. And you can see the picture of money, and that's when the 8 and the VWAP line are both slanted up, all right? And the distance between them grows and grows and grows right there. That's the picture of money. So stayed in this trend, kind of up to here. I think I even caught a little breakout up into the downtrend line, and that's a daily downtrend line, and that's acquired by just tacking a line from June 15th and June 1st, tacking them together and just extending it over to the right, and you can see where price comes up here and fades away all the way back to VWAP. And failure to make a lower low, all right, gives me the courage to get back in for price to make a higher high. And we did it. Price makes a higher high. Not to mention, we did have trend day setting up between 11 and noon. We were strong. That gave me courage to get in for a possible melt up through this downtrend line. I didn't think that it would pull back to VWAP first, but it did. And then I saw some tails start to show up. All right, and then price came back up and went all the way back up there. At that point, it was pretty clear to me that they're going through. As soon as they went back to the downtrend line from the VWAP line with the higher low all the way back up there. So I traded calls for the most part right here, just traded calls. The big one was, I called it out, was the 751 call, and that was called out at the beginning of the day. I don't know if I posted it or not. I think I did. Yes. Right here. Okay, so I posted it in the alerts in the room right here. So back up here. Okay, green erases red entry long over 749.10. SPY calls 751, 0 DTE, 751 strike, 0 DTE. So you can see that was my biggest one right there. And then I put on a put spread, and I got some long distance calls right there. The 4 DTEs right there. And I sold some 1 DTEs against it. Okay, so that's how I made my bones today. Just trading that. So nice rip to the upside. Again, right over 749.10, right about there. You can see 749 right there, 749.16. So beautiful rip to the upside right there. And then, of course, SPY pulls back to minor support. Okay, you can see where this would peaks right here would be support. Resistance when you're underneath it. Then when you come back to it, it should act as support. So we pull back down, J hook, and make a higher low right there. So you can see this was trade of the day, was these 751 calls right there. And I'm taking profits into strength all the time, okay? Because that's how I manage risk. Taking profits is a essential part of risk management, is to remove risk off the board. Put it on, take it off. Put it on, take it off. Capturing profits along the way. All right, so there's SPY. Let's take a look at the 10-minute. Obviously, you've got the sticks in the 3 riding up on top of the rising 8. We've got a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. Only 15 minutes before we close. 2-hour chart should be interesting here. With the pre-market on, shows a... let me just pick up a clean chart for everybody. Okay, with the clean... with the price, with the pre-market on, and I need to take that off to see what it looks like. It shows sticks in the 3 EMA, which is the thin yellow line, up over the white line. That's the 8 EMA, slanted up. You got daylight between the two of them. 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. I'm gonna take the pre-market off. See what it looks like. Still looks like an uptrend right there. Okay, so SPY, 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. On the daily candle, okay, this is where it gets a little weird. All right, because price today makes a higher high and a higher low. They closed over a bullish trap. They closed over the 17. They're near the top of quadrant 4. All right, near the top of quadrant 4. Closer to the top, I think, than they are to the middle. So that's bullish up there whenever they're in the upper third. But on the 26th, right here, they put in a lower low. See this low that cuts below the 17? Well, they put in a lower low. All right, and that gave them downtrend status. But the good news is since making the lower low, it's been a dysfunctional downtrend, and I say dysfunctional because price since making the lower low has done nothing but melt up or over to the right. Okay, instead of moving down like in a normal downtrend. Okay, so we're bullish on the daily chart, and we have dysfunctional downtrend. Now, in order to erase dysfunctional downtrend, and it's just a label, don't get hung up on it. In order to erase it, we have to make a higher high. So there's the first high we come to right there. So if we can get on top of 756.68, make a higher high, we will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend right there. Okay, we're getting pretty good. We're up here at 752. Remember, we came all the way from 716, all the way from down there in a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a matter of 6 days right there. That's not too shabby, all right? So that's like $35 in 6 days. It's almost over $5 a day. Okay, so pretty darn good getting up there. 6 days, $35. A little less than $6 a day. Okay, so right there. So there's SPY on the daily. Again, we're bullish because we're in the we're in the quadrant 4, top of quadrant 4, and dysfunctional downtrend because they made a lower low, but price is just melting up or over to the right. Okay, so there's the daily chart. Now the weekly and the monthly, nothing's damaged on these. Notice there's no pokes or cut through the 17. Of course, the 17 EMA, it's going to be these red dots and green dots right here. So notice we don't cut through over here. So still bullish and in an uptrend on the weekly and on the monthly. So there's SPY. Okay, so bullish into tomorrow. All right. Again, if we finish at the end of the day at the high of the day, another good chance we gap up in the morning. All right, so start scoping out what kind of calls you want. I would be looking at those 4 DTE calls. That way they're not as vulnerable to price. You'll have a pretty much tied in. You won't make a lot, but let me just say, when you go with the 0 DTEs, they tend to gap down so much. So I would much rather go with the 4 DTEs if I was looking to capture some overnight gappage that happens to gap up. So if we close at the end of the day, near the high of the day. So there's SPY on the monthly. Let's take a look at QQQ. On the QQQ, we'll start with the 10-minute, and you can see price goes up and over to the right. Okay, so we got on the 10-minute, we got a cross under and we got a cross over. So I'm not going to call that a 10-minute uptrend, and I'm certainly not going to call it 10-minute down. I'm going to call it bullish consolidation. Again, up and over to the right, bullish consolidation there on QQQ. On the 2-hour chart, okay, this is, if you look, I'm going to call this bullish consolidation as well. But if you squint your eyes, you can see clearly the yellow line, the thin yellow line. There's just a little bit of daylight there between the yellow line, which happens to be riding up on top of the 8. Not by much, okay? Not by much at all. Riding up on top of the 8, and there's a little bit of daylight right there. So it's kind of a 2-hour uptrend, more like bullish consolidation. So I'm going to leave it at that, bullish consolidation, and move up and over to the right on the 2 hours. So we got bullish consolidation 10-minute, bullish consolidation 2 hour. Now let's look at the daily candle. We got an inside day, and would have liked to see us make a higher high. Didn't get that done. That would have been nice to accomplish. So Q's really taking it on the chin these last couple of days. Here, and here. Still no higher high yet as compared to the previous day's candle. Okay, like to see that. Again, inside day, higher low, lower high, closed over the bearish trap and over the 17. If we put the quad lines on there, you can see that we're up in the middle of quadrant 4. That's bullish. And notice on QQQ, not unlike SPY, on the 26 had that big spike down. QQQ does not own a big spike down. They are still in an uptrend because they have not made lower lows. So QQQ, bullish and in an uptrend. Bullish because they're up here in the middle of quadrant 4. And on the weekly candle, we got nothing breaking below the 17 here. So we are still bullish and in an uptrend. Same on the monthly candles, all right? Still bullish and in an uptrend for QQQ. Let's take a peek at Diamond Dow on the daily. And I think Diamond Dow made it. Yes, they did. Diamond Dow makes a new all-time high. Dropped the mic. Doesn't get any better than that. And let me just say, it's going to be hard to make a new all-time high and not be bullish and in an uptrend. All right. So obviously bullish and in an uptrend, making a new all-time high here. Okay. Top of quadrant 4. All right. And no lower lows. All right. Cutting through the 17. So bullish and in an uptrend for Diamond Dow. IWM. Okay. IWM puts in an inside day. It's a lower high, a higher low. We closed over a bullish trap. That's good. Didn't make a higher high, though. Closed up over the rising 17, top of quadrant 4. That's going to be bullish. Have not made any lower lows, so we're still in an uptrend. So bullish and in an uptrend. If you look at the origin of all of these rallies, whether it's SPY, QQQ, IWM, Diamond Dow, they all start back here at the end of March, beginning of April, right there, and they all rip to some new all-time highs. So you can see here's IWM, there's Diamond Dow, same spot, end of March, beginning of April, okay, and SPY, okay, same deal, end of March, beginning of April, right here, rip, new all-time high, and QQQ, okay, end of March, beginning of April, new all-time highs right there. Let's take a look at FNGU. And FNGU continued to help us out today, and I thought it would flake out and leave us alone and forget about us, but it did not. So nice work today for FNGU. That's the big caps. What do we got here? We got a high of 27.62, a high here, 27.70. Folks, we have a higher low and a higher high. We closed over a bullish trap. We closed over the falling 17 EMA right here. We did not close over the uptrend line, which I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to see. But it looks like we sure leaned on it all day up there. So there's all-time high anchored VWAPs, the pink line. Nice to see us lean on it all day. So nice work there. But I would have liked to see the transition on top. I'll take that for right now. All right, maybe tomorrow if they can do the same thing again, but maybe just a little bit higher, like above it, that would be cool. So there's FNGU. We are, for FNGU, we're in the middle of quadrant 3. Now, let me just say, it wasn't but 6 days ago, we were in the middle of quadrant 2, okay? And let me just say, the lower third, that's the bearish. If you're in the lower third, that's bearish. And we were darn close to knocking on the door of being in bearish territory. Okay, so there's FNGU up in the middle of quadrant 3. That's neutral, and they still haven't made a higher high. Okay, they need to take out these highs right here. These 4 candles make a higher high, because you see right here they got a low and they made a lower low. But here's the good news. Since making the lower low, just like the SPY, we have a dysfunctional downtrend in that since making the lower high, price has done nothing but melt up or over to the right. So there's FNGU. We are neutral and dysfunctional downtrend. Okay, let's take a look at silver and gold. All right, silver puts in another little squeaker candle. Silver is higher low, higher high, closed over a bullish cross, closed under the falling 17. Pink line is the all-time high anchored VWAP, closed underneath that. The dash, that would be the midpoint. That would separate bullish and bearish control. Obviously, we're in bearish territory. We're in the southern half of the 50-yard line, mid-court, midfield. Half the rink, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is the origin back in 2022. There is the all-time high. That makes the pink line the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're in the middle of quadrant 2, so we're neutral. All right, again, we were almost knocking on the door of the bearish territory down there. And we've got lows, and we made lower lows, so we're still in a downtrend until we make a higher high. Here's the good news. It's been doing nothing for the last 6-7 days, but melting up. All right, so that's kind of a welcoming sign for silver and gold. So silver, neutral, and obviously making lower lows, still in a downtrend. Now if they take out, see that peak right there? So if they take out that peak, they can get themselves uptrend status. Remember, it's just a label, but that will negate the downtrend label that they've been given right now. Okay, so there's silver, neutral, and in a downtrend. Let's take a look at gold. And gold's got a higher low and a higher high, closed over a bullish cross, closed over the falling 17, a little bit better than silver, closed under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Again, same origin on 2022 right here. The origin of the rally starts here, and that gives us our all-time high right there, beginning of the year 2026. Here we are in the middle of quadrant 3, so we're just neutral again, and we still haven't made higher highs in a long time, so we've got a low and a low and another low and another low and another low and another low, and look, we made lower lows. So we're still in a downtrend. So neutral, still in a downtrend here on silver and gold. Okay, let's take a look at USO. Okay, USO today, let's see what we got. Higher low, higher high, closed. Are they in it or under it? They're under it. Under a bearish trap. Under the falling 17, that's the red dots. Under the pink line, that's the 14-year high anchored VWAP. Under the dash, that would be the mid-court, midfield, 50-yard line. Right there, half court. Okay, so bearish control down here. Okay, so this is going to be neutral. All right, because they're not in the lower third yet. So neutral, and you can see all of these lows, and we made a lower low. So we're still in a downtrend. So neutral and in a downtrend. So no uptrend yet for USO, no uptrend yet for SLV, that would be silver, and no uptrend for GLD. All right, so let's take a look at UNG. So here's Nat Gas. Nat Gas got a low right here. They made a lower low, so they're in a downtrend till they make a higher high. They are moving up and over to the right. It's the sloppiest flag I've ever seen. And if we pan out here, you can see the full quad lines. All right, so this is a 14, probably 15-month high anchored VWAP right there, all the way back to March 2025. So we got price is bearish because we are in the lower third, all right, and we are in a downtrend because we made a lower low. So bearish and in a downtrend for UNG. So long ways to go to get out of this. And they're not moving very fast, okay? Let's look at internals. Start with participation, T2101. And this is bearish for me. Anytime I see participation drop off like that, even though price did move up for the SPY, participation, bearish gap down. Bulls never came back and filled the gap. So less participation in the market on T2101 right there. Okay, so not a very good sign right there. So I'm going to give this one to the bears. T2122. Well, we spent the day above the gold line, which is the half court. So that'd be bullish control. Part of the day in the buy zone, part of the day in the buyer's chop zone. No higher highs, but we did ink out, did not get a lower low, so kind of an inside day here. So I'm going to give this one to the bulls because they kept it over the 50-yard line. They kept it up here in the buy zone and the buyer's chop zone. So nice work on the bulls today for T2122. Let's take a look at T2123. All right, cumulative 4-week new high, new low ratio. Right here, T2123. See cumulative 4-week new high, new low ratio. Looking what we got here. Again, new all-time highs, T2123. Let me just say, that's what inflation will bring you, is new all-time highs. So I know none of us like inflation. That means paying more for your bread, paying more for the milk, paying more for, I don't know, your stationery, whether you're writing. Everything costs more, whether it's CPU, GPU, memory, storage. Doesn't matter what it is. Everything costs more. Okay, that's what inflation does. But what it does is it jacks the price up on almost everything. So what happens is, companies take in more revenue because they're getting more money for the products that they were selling yesterday. All right. So, and what happens is that tends to bring in more profits if they got their act together. Management has got it worked out, and they're good at controlling costs. Okay, they get some higher earnings, all right, because a lot of those more revenue coming in on the top line should transition to the bottom line, which equals earnings. Higher earnings equal a better price per share. And what do you get? You get these new highs, okay? So Here's T2123 ripping and making a new all-time high again, okay, today. So they made one on, they made one on Thursday, all right, last week. They made one on Wednesday last week. They made one on Tuesday last week. And they made one on Monday last week, okay? So how about that, all right? So ripping and making new all-time highs. Now, this is where you want to be. You see the data up over the rising 200 SMA. That's where you want to be if you're a bull. Bullish gap up, never filled by the bears the whole day. Look at them move up, hold the higher ground. This is bullish coming into the close. Definitely give T2123 to the bulls, T2122 to the bulls, T2123 3-bar chart. Well, if the 15 went to the bulls, the 3-bar charts go in there as well. You can see at the top making new all-time highs. It's the same product, okay, just a different time frame. Up over the rising 200 SMA. All right, so that's obviously bullish and in an uptrend there. You can see that was our prior all-time high right here in March 2026. Then we ripped up here in May of 2026, made another new all-time high. And you can see all through June and July, we've been ripping and making new all-time highs in July and June. So this is T2123. Let's take a look at FNGU. FNGU did good for us today. Okay, so bullish gap up, never filled by the bears. Got a high, obviously got a higher high right here. Okay, so that's bullish. Okay, look at them attack the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's what we wanted to see, is attack on the pink line up there. Need to climb on top of it. Maybe tomorrow they get it done. We're up over the falling 200 SMA. Now it's starting to hook. All right, so that's where you want to be if you're a bull, right there. Let's back out, okay. Not quite as healthy as some of the other indexes, okay. This is, it's at the top of quadrant 2, all right. So they could get to quadrant 3. We'll see. They have not made higher highs. They're on the 15-minute. They're in a 15-minute uptrend. On the daily chart, they have not made higher highs. Okay, over the 17. Okay, so this is FNGU 15-minute. This is bullish because we did make some higher highs. Nice to see price closing right at the all-time high anchored VWAP. Nice to see price close over the dipping 200 SMA. This is going to be neutral and in an uptrend for FNGU, US dollar index. Still in a daily uptrend. Maybe a pullback to minor support right here. Maybe they'll J-hook out of there. Closing today, 100.86 right there. Thanks for sharing that with me, Tex. Let's take a look, see if we got Sharon. T2122 missed it. Right here, T2122 right here. Okay, so we spent the day up here in the buy zone for half the day, and the other half the day was split between the early morning and the afternoon inside the buyer's chop zone. So we're over the 50-yard line or half court, so I give that bullish control to the bulls. Okay, so bullish control on T2122, T2123, T2101 went to the bears because they've got, see, we got a gap down, less participation. So the bears got that point right there. Okay, but they didn't get them all because the bulls got that one and the bulls got that one right there. And the bulls got FNGU. That's a big one right there. Okay, when you get the big market caps all moving in the same direction to the upside, they can drag everything with it, no matter what they're doing. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. All right, that's going to be it. It's 4:09. All right. Let's take a look at SPY one more time. I want to see if we're going to finish at the end of the day at the high of the day. I think we are. I do. I think we are. Here's 10-minute. No, I did not want the VIX. I want this over here, right there. Okay. 10-minute. We are very close. That's very close. That's good. to see us close up over the downtrend line right there. Another pullback to VWAP. Don't like that. Not a big fan of that. All right. Really wished I'd have seen price hold the highs. Need to see a higher high now. Now that I've got a higher low, I got to see a higher high. We'll see what happens overnight. Okay, so again, on the guidance, we were looking for an uptrend based on the price action. Okay, it was bullish price action. I think this is it. That's not it. That's not it. Okay. That's not it. I think that's it right there. I should put the date on these. Anyways, looking good. Big bullish flag in the pre-market on this. Love that. All right, traders, that's it for me. All right. ACP says good day. Did you have a good day? I hope y'all made some. Did y'all make some gains? Did y'all grow your accounts? You did? I love it. I love it. I love it when the plan makes you guys money. I love that. All right, this is awesome. Okay, I'll see you guys everybody tomorrow. Okay, everybody have a beautiful evening. Tomorrow we've got, what do we got tomorrow? Tomorrow we're going to do a little e-learning. All right, so this is my new poster. Remember Gordon Gekko from Wall Street? Okay, greed's good, risk management's better. Okay. Anyways, right up here, e-learning tomorrow. Somebody asked for scanning. All right, so we're going to do a little. Probably a quick 15, 30 minutes on scanning. That's going to start at 11 a.m. tomorrow. E-learning tomorrow. It'll all be recorded. All right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. But I will see you in the morning, and we'll see if we can set ourselves up to make some more money in the morning tomorrow. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you.